Hello and welcome back to another video in this Rust tutorial series. Today we will talk about comments and control flow. Let's start with comments. I open for that a new project and open the main file. Comments are straightforward. You can use 2 forward slashes for a one-line comment like this one. If you want to write multiple lines, you can use either every time a one-line comment, as I have done here, or you can use the multi-line comment with a dash star and the dash star at the end. So you can comment complexer code or something that isn't clear to everyone that reads the code. Let's talk about control flow now. The ability to run some code while a condition is true and the ability to run some code repeatedly while a condition is true are basic building blocks of most programming languages. Now we look at if expressions. An if expression allows you to branch a code depending on the condition. So let's say we have a number that equals to 4, and if the number 4 is smaller than 5, then print this condition. Else, print this condition. And as we know, 4 is smaller than 5, so the condition was true, should be printed. Let's check that. And we get condition was true, as you can see here. So now, first, after if keyword, you have to write a condition, and this condition has to be a boolean. So you cannot write just number, because number is not a bool, it's an integer. When we run that, we get an error. Mismatch type, expect bool found integer, as you can see here. That's the first. Then second, else is optional, so you don't have to write else. You can also leave it out. You can also just use the if statement like that, and if the number is bigger than 5, it would just jump over it and do whatever is down here. And then you also can write if-else statements. Let me make an example for you. So that's the next example. We will go through the code first. So now we have a number 6. Then we check if the number is divisible by 4, or the number is divisible by 3, 2, and in the end we have an else condition. If nothing is true, it will print this statement. First, check what we would expect from this code before we run it. So we have 6. 6 is not divisible by 4, but it's divisible by 3 and also by 2. So now is the question, which one of these two, or both, or nothing will be printed, and we check that. So cargo run. As you can see, it just printed number is divisible by 3. So Rust only executes the first true condition, and if it finds one, it doesn't even check the rest. It will jump right over the rest of it and will execute the rest of the code. Another useful way to use if-else would be using it in a let statement. So we have a condition that's true, and we want to create a new number, and this number depends on the condition, if it's true or not. So if condition, we know it's true, would be 5, and if it would be false, it would be 6. So in this case, it would be stored 5, the expression 5, in the statement number, and then we print the number here. And when we run it, you see the value of the number is 5 here. So you can also use it to create variables, but really important is that you do use the same type. So you cannot write here an integer and here a char or a string. That would be a mismatch and will give you an error message. Now we come to the next topic, and there will be repetitions and loops. So let's say you want to repeat an action over and over again. You have the possibility to use a loop, a while keyword, a loop keyword, a while keyword, or a for keyword. For example, you can use a loop that will run over and over again and print something like again. So when we run this, we get again, and we'll never stop. We can use Ctrl+C to stop the program. So this is a loop that will run forever. That can be really useful, but you don't want to get stuck in a loop forever. For that you can use break keyword to break the loop and go out, or you can also use a continue statement to start again from the top of the loop. Okay, so this is another example. Let's say we have a counter that starts from 0, and then we enter the loop. First we print a counter once, that would be 0 in our case, and then we add 1, so now the counter is 1, and then we check if the counter is bigger or equal to 10, then break the loop and jump out. Maybe we print here, you see that it jumps out, finish. Good. Now when we run it, we see counters 0 all up to 9, and then we finish the program. We also can give back values if we want from the loop. So let's say we want to get a result back, and then we can use the break keyword and take the counter and maybe do an operation like multiple by 2 and give this one back, and then we can print it like that. So we have a loop, we run this loop, and if the condition is met, we will break and give back the counter times 2. The semicolon here is optional because we give back this value, and then we save the value in results, and in the end we will print the results. We can also run this code, and I have still an error. Oh yeah, I forgot to put a semicolon here. Okay, let's try it out. Let's try it out. So, and then as you can see, as before, we get to 9, and then we get back 20, and not 18 because we print before we add another 1 to the counter. So another example. Let's say you have a loop in a loop, and you can name your loops. For that, I used here counting up for my outer loop. Make a new variable that will check the remaining, and then in the inner loop I will print the remaining and check if the remaining is equal to 9. If it's equal, then I go out of the inner loop. If it's not equal, I will check the counter. If the counter is 2, I will break the outer loop, so I will jump out of all the code. And if it's not equal, I will just subtract 1 from the remaining. So remaining will be counted down and the counter will be counted up, because we have here after the inner loop, if we have remaining equal to 9, we'll break the inner loop and we get to this line, and we will add 1 to the counter. And then we get back to the top and go in the inner loop, and the whole thing will start again. So you can try to guess what we get as an output. I will show it in a second. Maybe pause the video and try to guess it. So as you can see, first we have the counter that starts at 0, the remaining at 10, as we defined it in the beginning. And then we subtract 1 from the remaining. Then we go out of the inner loop and add 1 to the counter. If you're back in the inner loop, get again remaining equals 10, subtract 1, get out of the inner loop, add 1 again to the counter, and so on. And then we will end the whole thing because we have counter equal 2 and break out from the outer loop. So we reach this point, counter equals 2, and then we break the outer loop because here you see the name counting up. It's the outer loop counting up. Then we will end here and the last print statement. Good. That can be really useful if you want to break a specific loop, as you saw here. The next loop I will show you is a conditional loop, and it's the keyword while. So the while loop, as you can see here, takes a condition, and for that we created a variable that's mutable. And if, I see I have an arrow here, is as long as this number is not 0, we will run this loop. We'll print the number, subtract 1, print the number, and so on. And when we reach 0, we will go out of the loop and print the end. Let's try that out. And as you can see, we get 3, 2, 1, end. So the normal loop has no condition, and with the while loop you get a condition. As long as this condition is met, we will stay in the loop, and if the condition is not met or you break out, we will leave the loop. And the last loop would be the for loop. For loop is really useful if you want to iterate through an array or a list of things. For example, here we have an array with 5 elements, and if we want to print them, we can use a for loop with the name, a for loop with a name that you can choose. Here I took element in the array A, and then we print the values is element. So each element will be printed here, and then we leave the loop. We can try that out as well. Good. As you can see, we get the value 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50. So that was it for today. Well, to summarize what we have learned so far, you have learned about variables, scalars, and compound types, functions, comments, if expressions, and loops. If you want to practice and try the things you learned so far, and try maybe to convert the temperatures between Fahrenheit and Celsius, generate the nth Fibonacci number, or print the lyrics to the Christmas carol, The 12 Days of Christmas, take advantage of the repetition in the songs. Yeah, keep practicing and have fun.